Crypto is on sale, half off Bitcoin, Ethereum, you have 30% off. Anyone else excited? So these are some crazy times in all markets, but specifically within the crypto space. I was on YouTube very quickly and I was looking at everyone panicking. And I guess it's a little odd for me because I am the opposite of panicked, as you can tell. I see this as a big sale, to be completely honest. And there's 1,000 reasons why I'm at the place where I think that way. But to me, a few big ones, I was trying to dive into this today because I actually couldn't fathom why people who are interested in this entire world of cryptocurrency, right? Like this world of a new financial system, new ways of commerce, new ways of, creating possibilities, disconnecting from the current financial system. Why would they not see this as a great opportunity to buy low? And I think this is sort of where it goes back to how we relate to money and to finances, maybe how our parents did, maybe how we were taught. So I suppose if you were someone who, heard about blockchain and Bitcoin and all of the various cryptocurrencies at a party with friends, and they were all talking about it and they were buying it, and you bought it at 50,000 because you saw a video that it would go up to 1 million, you're probably pretty upset right now because it's at, 38,000 or something like that. And so to me, this is about our expectations. And it's sort of, when stuff like this happens, whether you're happy about the sale or whether you're panicking and nervous and wanting to liquidate everything you own, regardless of your outward choice, it's a really great time to actually see where your money is going in reference to who you are, your value system, where you need to pull back, where you need to, redistribute. Are you truly diversified? Is every part of what you understand your income to be, what it has been, what it is, and what it will be, is that all in Bitcoin right now? Likely not, right? You have other sources of things, hopefully, right? Because that's what diversification is. And so this is sort of, I think, a time for all of us to really look and see where our money is. And my way of doing it is, where is my money as a representation of my energy, of my spirit? Because money is the physical manifestation of our wealth vibration, right? It's one of the many things. And so it's really tricky because if our tendency is to put in money, go do things because other people are saying it, and we kind of rely on them to do all their research, we kind of don't do it. I think that type of process may not serve you very well, or it may serve you temporarily when things are good, but then you have moments like this, when you have this massive crash, everything everywhere is crashing. And that real panic that we all feel, or well, most people feel. And so in understanding panic, we have to appreciate that whenever things like this happen, in that moment, even if you only had, $1,000 invested and now, you lost that money, and you can still pay rent and you can still pay your mortgage and all of that stuff. But still, none of us like losing money. But when we panic, it triggers a survival mechanism, right? And so when you are in full-fledged panic, humans are it's not really an ideal time to make rational decisions. When we're in panic, we are not in love, we're not in neutrality, we're not in abundance, we're not in overflow, we're not even in trust. We are in full-blown fear and panic. So if your coin dropped because everything else is crashing, technically you'd only lose money if you sold it. right? And what's the number one rule of investing? You buy low and sell high. But what happens when there's a crash in the market? Everyone panics and they bought high and now they've sold low. You're literally doing the opposite. And so it's a chance to get in touch with your inner investor and see, are you someone who truthfully in yourself, this is not about anyone else, do you come from panic? Do all your decisions come from this paralyzing fear that you will have FOMO, you'll be left out, you'll miss a bull run, or your friends will have made a lot more money and you haven't, or you just want to have like a cool crypto story for at dinner? If those are your reasons, you know, that's fine, but it's important for you to know, because I believe as we move through what everyone's calling volatility and whatever market you're in, when there's volatility, what you want is to not be in a place of absolute fear and panic. What you want is to understand what the larger picture is, sort of the macro lens on things, right? It's not just that crypto is crashing, everything else is too, right? Because there is a natural outcome to manipulation or suppression. There's a natural outcome to overprinting money. We exist on the earth, in the universe, and we follow earth and universal cycles. We're born, we die. You know, there's rise of empires and fall of empires. It is actually the most natural thing. And so there'll be ups and downs and all of this. So they're called cycles for a reason, because they're round and they cycle up and down. And it actually, you know, it helps, you know, rebalance, like seasons, right? Like in the fall, the trees lose their leaves, and in the spring they pop back up again. It's not like epic death in the fall. And so what we're learning, every single one of us individually, and the individual here matters, I think, especially in the crypto space, because you really can't blame, like generally you don't have a broker, right, with crypto. And I know people sell that as a service and they promise to make you a lot of money. You know, if that's your jam, you know, go for it. But for me, this is about learning empowerment. This is about actually finally getting to make decisions and be in control of where my money can go, right? Where my wealth can go, what choices it is allowing me. But we haven't really had that before, right? Someone else dictates interest rates. Someone else dictates this, that, and the other. And again, it's not a perfect system right now, but I see a lot of the crypto space. And again, of course, there's scams and there's scammers and all of that. And, you know, that's all fine. We learn to discern what feels right to us, what we know to be right. We research. That's why we have, you know, great websites and technical analysis, but we're learning to interpret those charts for ourselves. So it is a learning experience, and we're all learning this together. So the people who are like, oh, I'm an expert in crypto, like you're an expert in something that started in 2009. Okay. And you know, maybe you are. There's definitely people who know more than others, but I find the people that are really great with this, they're the ones who are very conscious that we are walking through all of this pretty blind, because it's so new, right? And so back to this panic and like the nervous system response, right? Like we want to, as this volatility continues, and, you know, don't kid yourself. Volatility isn't just, oh, it crashed today and then it'll kind of just be on the up and up from here on until the next Bitcoin halving. Like that's not how it is. Volatility means up and down, right? It's a very common misinterpretation of the Great Depression. The cycle shows that it goes down and up like this, but it was actually more like that, right? A depression is depressed growth. So growth is negative. But like the people, like if you actually go into charts, go into details, and like, you know, read accounts of average people who lived through and moved through it, the issue was that when you're in that dip, you can't see when it's coming up. And they panicked, and many, like 15 other horrible things happened, but the depression it's a depressive cycle, right? So it sort of goes like this. It's not just one plunge, today on a particular day it fell, then tomorrow it will rise and it will soar and it will never come down again. So we are learning to prepare for high levels of volatility. It's a little bit like, surfing or skateboarding or something. When you start it, you're all wobbly. But then you have a few falls, and then you relearn balance on wheels if you're skateboarding, or on water if you're surfing, right? You're building that musculature to not only balance yourself, but catch yourself when you sway too much to one side or the other, that like constant evaluation. If you're in a coin and that coin is dropping, okay, but what's happening? What's the founder doing? Are the people who created it in some country that have an internet outage? Is there political issues? Like there is we are part of a larger world. So instead of just looking at your coin, your drop, your rise, like you can obviously, because that is how we would make our decisions, but also know and try and hold the perspective that there are larger things happening. And the reason I think I perceive this drop in crypto as a sale is because I know and I trust that there are new systems that are rising, and there's a lot of brilliant minds, like way more brilliant than anything I can ever come up with, and people who have the technical expertise, the financial expertise, and the social and attunement to humanity, who are building these solutions. And I'm very discerning personally in the coins and the projects that I invest in, but I'm sort of an eternal hippie that way. So I choose coins that are about, like low energy, free energy, like stuff like that. And if I lose money on them, that's fine. It's part of enjoyment, because I do have diversity. I do have coins that I'm in because I just know they will X a higher amount. And so while everything is plummeting now, maybe that's a good thing, right? Because it's not a good thing in that it's not pleasant, certainly, but I don't perceive that I've lost money because I'm not selling. You'd only lose money if you sell it and convert it back to whatever your fiat currency is. But if you can hold it, if you can hodl it, and you play along the game with certain ones, then if it rises, that's great, right? Like we're looking at things like market cap. We're looking at things like the next Bitcoin halving, maybe that's in 2024. So and there's so many other things we're looking at, right? So if you have panicked and sold off everything and you're done, hands washed, that's you've already made that choice. So there's no going back to that. If you are simply in this moment, sitting in panic, sitting in fear, and again, this is not financial advice. I'm honest. For me, I'm more concerned with the unfortunate part of making decisions from panic. So maybe what's truthfully best for you is that you get out of this market. Maybe it wasn't for you, maybe you're not for it. And the best thing you can do is cut your losses and sell. And if that's you, awesome. But is that decision coming from your truth, your neutrality, your sense of, what, I tried crypto, it wasn't for me, but hey, real estate, or, private lending, or just something, whatever your thing is. Maybe you decide you're better to, invest in a farm because that's your joy, that's your love, and that's your interest, right? So maybe your money should go there. And so while I absolutely love the crypto space, I fully acknowledge that it may not be for everyone, because again, this is alignment, right? I'm personally not interested in housing and like the real estate market. It doesn't mean it's bad. It's just, I cannot be bothered to learn about it, to study about it. I can't be bothered to properties don't excite me. So it's just not aligned. And so know your reasons, know your values, and try to, whatever tools you have to center yourself, ground yourself, and then ask yourself some questions that allow you some some revelations within the self. Are you someone who truly believes that money is the root of all evil, and you really wanted, 10,000 Bitcoin because you just, you want that story that you got in low and you sold high, and you're really upset because you can't tell that story. You're really upset because you had this idea, but the whole world did not cooperate with your idea. Is that why we're upset? Because it's so easy with money to get into an ego space. And I can say that because I've been there many times. With the last time Bitcoin crashed from something to something else, I was all up in a toss. But I have my practices for grounding, for centering. I have my practices, how I journal, how I understand and learn and expand and reset my wealth vibration, because my interest and my joy is to understand, body energetics, body magnetism, how we create versus how we manifest. One is more active, the other is more sort of pulls and draws in, right? Like I'll play around with wealth, with money. And so it is truly asking who you are. What is your relationship with money, right? Like, are you in rebellion of your parents with how they handled money? Are you doing exactly what your parents said because that's the only way? There's 23,000 cryptocurrencies now. I'm not, obviously, I don't know all of them. And maybe a very small percentage of them will actually survive. But I kind of like that there's so many, because some part of me interprets this as the universe's reminder that abundance and that opportunities are actually way more abundant than we've been programmed to believe. They are way more available. And so you have 25,000 now, different ways of exploring that. And sure, some will fail, but with every failure also comes a learning. With every perceived loss also comes our tuition, our education for ourselves around money, around who we trust, who we listen to, why we trust and why we listen to them. And this is not a suggestion on never listen to anyone. I listen to a lot of other people's opinions as well. But again, I have to decide. It's not some XYZ person's fault on YouTube if they made a prediction and I followed that prediction, and then, now I'm so angry at them because it went south. Right? Like we are learning to not get caught up in this blame, shame, fear-based pattern that come from panic and survival. We are learning new patterns. We're like unplugging from this old matrix that has kept a significant portion of the world, maybe you're fine, but a significant other portion of the world in poverty. And we have this idea that for me to be rich, you have to be poor. But that's a bullshit philosophy. So, but maybe you prescribe to that. Maybe that is your truth. Maybe the only way you know how to be rich is to take from another, right? But it isn't mine. And I had to actually realize and come to that. And so please take the time, if you can, over the next few days to really settle into yourselves. Take some deep breaths, go for a walk if you can be out in nature. And really, I live in the Northern Hemisphere, so it's springtime. This is the season of wealth and abundance in nature. If you can allow that space to imbue within you, and then ask yourself, what is the best decision for me? Be open to the fact that an answer may come. And again, if it's leaving crypto, great. If it's buying more crypto, awesome. The outward action is one thing, but really we're trying to see where it comes from within ourselves. Are you coming from abundance? Are you coming from lack? Are you coming from love? Are you coming from fear? Are you coming from neutrality or from panic? And so I invite you to at least allow for a few seconds the perspective that right now, everyone's talking about crypto crashing and the world is collapsing. I see it as a sale. Right? It's a sale. I'm going to fill up buy some more stuff, put it in my shopping cart, get everything off exchanges, put it in my hard and soft wallet, And, maybe I'm horribly wrong. And in 2 years, no cryptocurrency exists. But I ask you, if you truly believe that, why did you invest to begin with? Have a nice day.